Hello, hello. What's going on? Welcome to your midweek Macca break. How's everybody out there? Let's see, we've got a few comments in here already. Waiting to go. We got Noah. Hello. Good to see you. Thank you. We got Mike here. Hello, Mike. And thank you for your wonderful comment there. And we've got a good old Uncle Paul. Hi, Uncle Paul. Great video earlier today. If you haven't checked out Uncle Paul's Beatles channel, check it out. Very good. He did a very good video today about 45 collecting cases, and that was fun. I liked it. Good job. It's too bad about those picture sleeves, though, right? Because those poor picture sleeves. Those cases weren't designed for picture sleeves. So I can imagine a lot of picture sleeves either got thrown away or just forgotten about because of those damn cases. But good show. We got Andrea. Hello. Thank you for joining. What's going on? So if you guys have any comments or questions or anything in particular you want to talk about, just, go ahead and put them in the comment section. Yes, no problem. No problem. No problem. But yeah, so it's 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. I got a movie to see at 4, and I think I'm going to see a movie at 8 tonight as well. I saw a movie yesterday called Mickey 17, which was a lot of fun. A little too long at 2 hours and 17 minutes, but it was a good movie. Good movie. But I'm going to see Novocaine today, and a new movie called Black Bag as well. So stuff going on here, and then Andy and I are working on a day to record our next episode. Let's see here. Noah says, I have a question. Did you see the video by Matthew Street about on a possible release? No, I didn't. I don't necessarily watch those kinds of videos because all they are is speculating videos. I more or less want facts, to be honest with you. And that's, all we're doing is speculating at this point about what the next box set is going to be. What do you think of the rumor with the Beatles set? Listen, if it's a rumor right now, right? Could it be? Yeah, maybe it could be, but we'll see. We'll see. I have no problems with whatever will be the next Beatles set. I have no problem whatsoever. But again, it's I'll wait till it's announced. I'm one of those guys. I can wait. Yeah, sometimes it's fun to speculate and stuff like that, but I can wait to see what the official release is going to be. So, but what else is going on? We did, yeah. It's always a surprise. That camp is so tight-lipped that especially if you're somebody in the know, you want to stay in the know, so you're going to keep everything secret, right? So yeah, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell. Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell. But from my understanding, we were supposed to get something Beatles anthology related. Maybe we still will. Why does it only have to be one Beatles release a year? Why can't it be multiple releases? So we shall see. We shall see. Oh, exactly. So yeah, what else is going on, everybody? We got a first-hand look at new 4K restoration for Letting Go video. So could we be getting a 4K restoration of the Wings Over the World video? That would be really cool. We got our new we got a trailer for the 1-to-1 documentary, which is premiering which is going to be in theaters on my birthday. So I'm kind of torn about what I want to do. on my birthday, there was going to be an opera in town. If those don't know, I do enjoy opera, and I was thinking about going to see a Mozart opera here in Detroit, but we'll see. We'll see. See, do you think the new remixes are a replacement to the original mixes? Well, no, no. As long as the originals will be out there, right? These new remixes are never to replace the original. Okay, just look at them as a new way to listen to these songs. Okay, that's how I just look at it. It's fun. It can be fun. Some of the things that Giles has done has been good. The other stuff, not so much. But that's just up to you. That's up to your ears and whether or not you like them or not. So take them as they are, or and enjoy them. Yeah, they'll never be replacements for the for these new remixes. Okay, the original stuff will always be out there, and they should always be out there. Yeah. So yeah, excited about excited about all the stuff that's going to be coming, right? Whether we know what they are or we don't know, it's we've always got something coming in the pipeline, and it doesn't matter to me what it is. I know a lot of people want the London Town and Back to the Egg, right? That's what we've been clamoring for the last 4 or 5 years now. It's just, when are we going to get it? When are we going to get it? And I don't know. But I'm sure we'll get them one day. Anyways, what else? What else is going on? I want to thank a friend, Ron, who knows that I've been collecting or I've been rebuying a lot of the cassettes that that I've had in my collection, years ago, but I've been re-getting them or rebuying them. And he had a Back in the U.S. cassette, and he offered it to me, and I said, yeah, I didn't have this one. Even when I was collecting cassettes, I didn't have Back in the U.S. So there you go. Still has the hype sticker. It says 2 cassettes, 35 classic McCartney and Beatles songs live. So there you go. Back in the U.S. So thank you, Ron, for that. I can put the price, show the price tag here if you can see it. Here, let me do this right here. Back in the day, can you see it here? Oh, come on, camera. But $13.99. There you go, $13.99. It's all backwards, but yeah. Let's see here. Ted, how are you? Hi, Tom. That I think Ringo special will come out on CD streaming album. That could be. I don't know how the ratings were for the show, but hopefully you guys watched it, and we'll see. A lot of the stuff that was on the Ryman special, we ended up seeing at the Grand Ole Opry, and not every performance, but a few of the performers that performed at the Ryman also performed at the Grand Ole Opry. So that was kind of cool. So we did kind of see some of it, But I know a lot of Beatle fans watched the Ringo at the Ryman, and I thought that was awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I want a new remaster remix of Tripping the Line Fantastic. Yeah, it was funny. I had my cassette version of that right here. Here we go. Tripping the Live. Remember, it was on a two cassette type thing, just like the Rings Over America was. So yeah. Yes. So I did get a new picture sleeve 45 that I'll be showing in a few minutes. Been collecting the 45s from all around the world, as a lot of you know. I would like to eventually do a book of all of them. within the next couple years after I get them all. but it's been tough. It's been tough finding a lot of them. Let me get the. This one I really like too. It's from Denmark. And here we go. It's Letting Go. Speaking of letting go, it's Letting Go. And it's from Denmark. And I love this. It's Wings, as you can see. Um, you know, maybe as they're getting kicked out of the plane, going to location on the tour. But here you go. I love this. One of my favorite 45 picture sleeves here. So, been looking for this one for a while and finally pulled the trigger. So, so there you go. Yes. There we go. There we go. Yeah. No. Hold on. Give us a hint. Yeah. So I'm really considering doing maybe a 2-book set, maybe 71 to 75, and then 76 to 79. I've still got a bunch more to go. Especially stuff from Israel. They are getting more expensive as I'm getting closer to, finishing. I think I've got it right around 25, 30 more to get. Like I said, the ones from Israel are pretty expensive. A lot of them are from the $100 to $250 range. So those are going to be a little bit of a wait, So, but I'm getting closer, as the song goes, getting closer. So a green or orange capital. What would George Martin think of new mail? I think the technology. I think he would. I would imagine that he would accept it and think it's quite cool. To go back and then be able to separate everything and remaster them. Yeah, I think he would have thought that's far out. Now, I don't know if he would have done anything with it, but maybe, you never know. Yeah, it's been a long journey. Pretty much starting in about 2020. So I've come a long way in the last 5 years. Because it's been about 5 years now since I've really started to collect these 45 since the pandemic, really. So, but I what I did was I picked up all the cheap ones first. You get all the ones from the 80s because those are a dime a dozen, really. I mean, you can find those 80s ones really quickly. The So Bads and the Say Says and the Girl Is Mine and even Coming Up is easy to find. So those 45s from the 80s are relatively easy to get. It's the stuff from the 70s that are harder to find. And yeah, and it's been a challenge so far, but I'm finding more as the time goes on. There's a couple that that might be really, really hard to find. So who knows how we're going to do this? Oh, man, you had to ask, didn't you? Do you think Wings as a band should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? There's a time where I would say, there's a time when I would say no. But as I'm reading more of, say, books like the McCartney Legacy from Cozen and Sinclair, and now maybe I come to the conclusion that maybe they belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But again, it's all about McCartney, right? Were you going to a Wings concert to see, Jeff Britton or Joe English or Denny Seiwell, or Steve Holley? Were you going to those shows to see them, or were you going to see Paul McCartney, right? I mean, that's the issue. That's the big issue. I mean, sure, Denny Lane had fans, and I'm sure he had a lot of fans before he joined the Wings with all the other bands that he was a part of. But once he, you know, joined with McCartney, that's a whole nother thing. McCartney is on such a higher level. As good as Lawrence Juber is as a guitarist, as much as I love Denny Sywell as a drummer. I mean, all the musicians, Jimmy is another fantastic guitarist. It's still, in the long run, essentially McCartney, right? It's McCartney. So yeah, maybe they could go into the Hall of Fame, but do you include McCartney? Kind of like how the E Street Band was. Do you put them in separately? Because let's face it, I mean, it was Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, right? Did the E Street Band ever record any albums? Excuse me here, 1 second. Anyways, did the E Street Band ever record an album? Um, so I don't know. I mean, maybe Paul can weigh in on it. Let's see that. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, hopefully it comes to fruition within the next 2 years. I want to say I'm trying to give myself a deadline of 2 more years to get all this stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, some of the stuff is expensive, and with everything else that's coming out too. Would thrill Paul to have Linda and Doc. Oh, absolutely. Maybe get Susie and the Red Stripes in the Hall of Fame, right? um, let's see here. Did Paul ever weigh in on the question? What Hi, how you doing, Tom? Good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Did Paul ever weigh in on the question about the Wings being in the Hall of Fame? I don't recall. Maybe, but I don't recall. I just don't know if the members of Wings contribute enough. Yeah, 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 yeah. Denny is in now as a Moody Blue, as a member of the Moody Blues. But read the McCartney Legacy books, and you can decide for yourself whether or not, because they did contribute. They did. Let's see here. How much do the 12-inch single from Rush's? As far as I know, there was only one 12-inch single from Rush's, and I got the 12. I got my case right here. Let me see if I find that. This one, no, that's Twin Freaks single. I'll show that one here in a second. So we're looking at Fluid, right? This is the one, I believe. This one, I don't tend to really like to tell people how much I spent on stuff, but I think this is the one you're talking about, right? This is Fluid, the Nittany Swanee mixes. So, I mean, you can find these on eBay and Discogs, and I'm sure there'll be all kinds of different prices. I don't think I paid very much for this, to be honest with you. And then there's the Twin Freaks one, which is it's just one side, and the other side has an etching on it, So I don't know if you can see it. So yeah, I mean, again, just so much stuff out there to collect. You know that, Uncle Paul. I saw your room. There's so much stuff to collect. Looking forward to, yes, thank you, Tom. It's gonna be a good time as always, because of us that are going, right? Because you, me, everybody that's gonna be there, we're gonna have a great time, and it doesn't matter, who the guests are or who's there. It's like we're gonna have a good time no matter what. Now he says, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's the only 12-inch single regarding the Fireman. I don't recall if there was a 12-inch single for Electric Arguments. See here, Yellow Time. I think Wings should be in. Other bands with lineup changes end up, yeah, Foreigner. But a lot of times with a band that has a lot of lineup changes, they just stick with the original lineup, like Chicago, right? They only inducted the original lineup. Kiss, they only put in the original lineup. So a lot of times it also depends on the creativity and who was in at the time. There's a lot of factors in why they put in who they put in. If they consider that original lineup as being the most innovative and inspiring lineup, then they're only going to put that lineup in. So yeah. You're sorting out your new Beatles space. Yeah. Yep. I got the suitcase here. Andy picked up a suitcase last week. So or was it earlier this week? I don't recall, but made me want to dig mine out of storage and display it again. So love the suitcase. Hi, Tom. How you doing, Christian? Do you own any of the Neil Young archive sets on CD? I have volume 2 and just bought volume 1. Yeah, I used to have the big the archive set of volume 1. I used to have it. I did purge it. I love the Neil Young archive sets. I just bought one. I got when we were in Nashville. When we were in Nashville, we stopped at a record store that our friend Dylan Seavey worked at. Okay, and I picked up this. This is called Toast. This is one of, and I'm backwards. Darn it. But this came out a couple years ago. This was what was released before Neil Young released an album called "Are You Passionate," which is an album I love from Neil Young. And this was the original version of that. So he stopped production on this album and then retooled everything and then put out an album called Are You Passionate? So there's that. Let's see here. There are 2 12-inch single from Rush as well. Then I'll have to look the other one up. And that's the from Rush's would be 90s. So what I do is I'll pick up my Paul McCartney, the songs he was singing by John Blaney. This is volume 3. This would be the 90s, and that's one of the best collecting books out there. So what you can do here is, let's say, one of the great things is he'll show, the picture sleeves. He'll show the CDs or the LPs, the 45s, and how they looked in the U.S. and the UK markets. Right? There's the Hope of Deliverance remixes, 12-inch single. Here's the Hope of Deliverance CD singles. So this is a really great book series to have if you're a collector. It's a great way to see what you might be missing. Okay. So, like the Off the Ground cassettes right there and CD single. So, I'll have to look and see what's. Let's see here. There's Fluid. Fluid is there, and I'll have to look and see what there's another one. So, Fluid is 134. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about, the Fireman. I'm sorry about the glare. Okay, so one of these pictures I can't show, but here's like all the Rushes, the record, the labels. Okay, so this is a really great series to have. I have to try to find that other one that might be out. Clean Machine, could that be it? I don't know. No. Fluid. Yeah, here's Fluid. So here's Fluid stuff right here. Okay, so that's what I just showed. Okay, right there. So yeah, I'll have to look up to see what that second 12-inch was. So, but thank you for bringing that up, Ollie. Maybe Joe English would come out of hiding to. No, I don't think he would. I don't think he would. I think he's happy right where he's at, Ted. No, if Now and Then are on the Red and Blue albums, what will they do for a new anthology? Um, well, I mean, I think they would put out the Real Love, a new remix of Real Love and Free as a Bird. That's what I think they'll do. Bought Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Joe Crow, Willie Nelson concert, first Bob concert in 30 years. Yeah. So Bob Dylan's coming to Michigan in April. So I'm going to get tickets for that. I'm going to drive to Kalamazoo to see Bob Dylan, and really excited. This will be my first time seeing Bob Dylan. So yes, you do. Yes, you do. Right there, the suitcase. That's the suitcase. Yep. Let's see, John and Paul love story. Sounds me. Is out there. Are you aware of this book? Yes, I am aware of that book, and I did not pick it up. If you have it, let me know what you think, James. And how are you? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you as always. Thanks for being here. So yeah, just so many things. I mean, Blaney. I mean, a lot of you know that we've had John Blaney on. We've talked about this series. We're going to have him on again because he wrote a book called 1973, the last year the Beatles were fab. We're going to get to him on that book as well. So we're also going to get to J.R. Moore's as well for the Off the Ground, Paul McCartney in the 90s book as well. Let's see here. Ollie says, contains the track Fluid, Apple Trees, Cinnabar, Amber, and an extended version of an album titled track Bison. Yeah, okay. All right. I'll look for it. Thank you, Ollie. Did you buy the last Beatles vinyl box set? I did not. No, the Beatles box sets I've been getting on CD only. Let's see. I'm good. I've had a week off work, so just lazing. Good. So it's good. Lazing on a Sunday afternoon. Are they going to remix The Night at the Opera? Are they going to remix all the Queen albums? Last year they put out the 50th anniversary of the debut. Let's see if they do Night at the Opera, which is my favorite Queen's record. Yeah, thank you, Ted. Yeah, I'm trying to get on there myself. I've been having issues with my phone because what I did was I got a new phone number on my phone, and my phone is still recognizing the old phone number. So I'm having a hard time getting on Discord right now, but I will get on there. I might stop at the Verizon store today and see if they can do anything about that. So we shall see. We shall see. See here, I would love to get the U.S. Capitol albums, the new vinyl analog remaster. Yeah, the U.S. albums don't do anything for me. I did get the Rubber Soul on U.S. The U.S. Rubber Soul, and I've always loved the Hey Jude album. But I know my older friends that grew up on the U.S. albums, they love them, and rightfully so. But I didn't. So, I mean, I can go back and enjoy them. I did get the Target Meet the Beatles. I haven't listened to it yet, but I will soon. Let's see here. Hi, Lynette. Good. Thanks for joining. I believe Queen 2 will be next. That'll be great. That'll be great. Keep the series going, right? Don't tease us with one. We want more. Keep them coming. See, James says, I like the Queen remix. I don't think they'll remix A Night at the Opera as a debut mix they were never happy with. Okay. Well, just recognize the 50th, I guess, and I will get it. I would love to get a color version of that album, maybe a white vinyl. I know they've pressed it on white vinyl before, Night at the Opera. So we shall see. All right, we're a half hour in. A lot of good comments and discussions. So let's keep them going. I do have a movie I'm going to go see at 4:00. So I'll stick around for another hour or so. So what else is going on? What else is going on? Trying to see if I had anything else to show, but if there's older fans out there, I did. I got a copy of a book called "Tell Me Why," which was a discography type of book back in the day. I believe this came out in '89. Was it? So let me know if you have this one. Tell Me Why, it's called. I believe this 89 or 81? Let me know. Let's see. Noah says, do you think people get confused over a remaster and a remix? The difference? Yes. I do think people sometimes do get confused over that. And again, just all you got to do is really read the literature that comes with the CDs, and they'll talk about, what they are. And then it'll say also, and when you go to buy it, they'll say remaster or remix, and then read the description. That's all you got to do. But yeah, I do think sometimes people get confused by the two. I think Queen 2 could do with a remix. It might be my favorite Queen album. Well, okay. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy what they do with it if they do release it. But yeah, I mean the physical media has been kept alive due to all these anniversary editions of stuff, and I say just keep them coming. Keep them coming. Because the box sets are still coming. I know people are saying, "Oh, any year now, these physical media is going to die." Well, it's still going. It might be at a smaller amount of copies and whatnot, but they're still going. Let's see here. Do you ever get tired of reading all the Beatle books? I love them, but it gets repetitive. Sometimes I will admit, Lynette, sometimes I do get burnt out about reading Beatle books, and especially Paul McCartney books, because over the last 10 years, Lynette, a lot have come out. We've been really spoiled the last 10 years with McCartney book. 20 years really, but really 10 years we've been getting a lot of McCartney stuff, a lot of Beatles stuff. I mean, there's still a lot to learn, but you're right though. A lot of it is repetitive. I agree with you. Good point, Lynette. Sometimes people think a remix has added instruments, but most of the time it's just the original tapes. Yeah, it's just, there's a horn, if there's a saxophone lower in the mix, all they're doing is just, bringing it up. Or in, Sean Lennon's case, he's taking it away altogether. So yeah, that's pretty much spot on there, James. Yeah. And Noah agrees. So, but yeah, there are a ton of books, and I think it's important to research them before you buy them. Before you buy one, if there's an author that's has a lot of credibility, like this Coes and Sinclair's. If you have, if they do their research, if depending on who they talk to, and check them out. Sometimes you might learn something still. Let's see here. I cherry pick my Beatle books now. So many out there, and there will always have been a lot out there. But it does seem like there's a lot out there now, and yeah, but there always has been a lot of Beatle books. Always. Hello, Mikkel. Good afternoon, all. I am new to these live streams. Wishing you all good health and happiness today. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Where are you from? Where are you from? Let us know. And welcome. So if you have a comment or anything related to Paul you want to talk about, just write it down. So awesome that you're here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. I'm not going to read Philip Norman's book. He's just an opportunist. Yeah, I do have it. I have just dug in it a little bit. Well, exactly. But I gotta show this first. Well, how you doing? Are you with Joe Mayo, and that's why? Did Joe Mayo put you up to this? How you doing? How you doing, Mikey? Oh, that's great. I'm not going to read the Philip Norman stuff. Yeah. Again, it's up to you. What do you want to be there or not? I have an idea for a Beatles release. Okay, well, let us know. Let us know. I love it. Thank you. It's been a while. It's been a while for that one. Good afternoon. How about the Ringo spot? Yeah, I didn't watch it. But it's hopefully you did, and hopefully you had a great time watching it. Yeah, I redid. Yeah, shite when it came out in '81. Yeah. Yep. He's at the store. Are you getting anything? How many copies you buying, Joe? Huh? All you content producers don't help. I see interviews with the authors, and then I have to buy the book. Thank you. Good point there, Lynette. Good point. I remember when I discovered Every Little Thing, the podcast with Ken Michaels, and at the time it was Steve Marinucci. And I'm sorry, Things We Said Today. And they had just had author after author after author on, and and that's when I only had at the time, and I think I only had like 3 or 4 Beatle books at the time. And after that, then it just expanded. So yeah, so I blame that too. Yes, the legend is here. Did you order a pizza today? That's what we need to know. We need to know now. Was there a pizza at the record store? Let's see here. I am 26, lived in California for 17 years, and I now live in the Netherlands. So Paul at Candlestick, and 14. Fingers crossed for new archive collections. Yes, absolutely. Listen, I'm doubtful, but I'm also hopeful at the same time. It's been 5 years now, so I want them to continue, but I'm doubtful. I think he's moved on from those, and now he's just sticking with the half-speed masters and the one-offs, like One Hand Clapping, right? Okay. Let's see here. So, but thank you for joining us. This for the new anthology set, possibly a remix of Now and Then with someone else playing the drums. Why? You don't want Ringo on drums? Tom, you should get some. Yes, yeah. I agree. We push a lot of books here on 2 legs, don't we? And on Talk More Talk, when I was on that show too, we just pushed a lot of books. We did. Um, let's see here. I'm eating French fries at the moment. I wish I could share with you lovely folks. I love me some French fries. Love me some French fries. Joe says no pizza today. Okay. Well, you got me kind of like craving pizza now. Or I got myself craving pizza, I should say. I got myself craving pizza. Let's see here. Paul's focus on wings recently is a bit unusual, though. It reignited my hopes for a revisit to. Well, eventually, I think he will. I think he will revisit London Town and Back to the Egg. We just don't know if it's going to be in an archive set or when we get to the 50th anniversary, and that's when it releases the Half Sweet Masters. We don't know. I'd prefer sooner than later, but we'll see. One Hand Clapping is now one of my go-tos. It was like getting a new album of new material. So yeah. This was a fantastic release. I really liked it. You know, you get some chatter in there, right? You get so many different cool things. You know, version of Tomorrow, on here. You know, I do like the version of Genius Farm that they have on here, but Soily, right? So. Yeah, it was a good, very, very good release. Very good release. And now it looks like we're going to get Wings Over the World. Hopefully coming. We're going to get that Letting Go video tomorrow on the 14th. Is it the 14th tomorrow? Yeah. So that'll be fun to watch, and hopefully the stuff just keeps coming out. I thought it'll be a novelty. I love Ringo's drumming, but I think it'll be cool. Okay. If I get terminal illness, I'm going to Soho Square and demanding. That's my last breath. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. We don't want you to get an illness in order to get those releases. All right. Hey Tom, I finally catch a live show. Hello, Astro. We will be seeing you right in a couple weeks. Yes, thank you. This was 2022. I got this at the SoFi show. A lot of fun. That SoFi Stadium. Oh my God. That SoFi Stadium was massive place. Unbelievable. Wasn't Flaming Pie technically a Half Sweet Master? I believe it might have been. And yes, it came with the same white card that a Half Sweet Master came with, and maybe the series could have merged. Yes, that is an excellent point. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. You might be right. You may be right, and I may be crazy. Do you think Lockup will be Ringo's last album? No. Hopefully he does another country record. I mean, if he keeps doing the EP, is fine, but every once in a while, well, listen to me every once in a while, like he's 40 years old again. No, I mean, listen. Whatever he wants to do, fine. But that doesn't mean we have to like it. And hopefully we do like it. But I know a lot of people love Look Up. And I think that's great. I'm liking it more. So yeah, we shall see. Yes, my friends, see you in 2 weeks. Paul looked and sounded good on the Ringo special. Yeah, he did that little introduction, right? And that was great. Ray, how are you? Thanks for being here. Howdy from sunny Miami. Quick question. You think the issue with Back to the Egg archive, because that album was on CBS Columbia instead of Capitol label, could be rights issue? No, not the audio. No. Hear Music, when Hear Music had the archive releases, right? They released Tug of War, right? They released McCartney 2. They released Pipes of Peace, and those were what? Those were Columbia. Those were Columbia, and plus Paul owns all his masters, right? So it doesn't matter. When in 1993, when the UK released, well, that was Parlophone, though. Okay, those were all Parlophone. But anyways, in '93, all of them got re-released and with the Paul McCartney collection. But I think it's more of a state issue. But no, I think that's not an issue because again, when the archive series was with Hear Music, they did release some of the Columbia stuff. So that's just the things you just got to keep in mind, right? Back to the Egg, McCartney 2, Tug of War, Pipes of Peace, and give my regards to Broad Street were all Columbia, right? And those albums got, well, not all of them, but, 3 of the 5, have been reissued when Paul was with Hear Music. Yeah, got it, my friend. So I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is more video. Okay, if you read the McCartney Legacy, they talk about everybody not knowing that they were being recorded for the Rockestra documentary. So that could be an issue why it's not out. But again, they're staying tight-lipped about it and not letting us know why we're not getting, London Town Back to the Egg. No, it says, fact, Eric Clapton was the only good guy outside of the Beatles was on a beat. Yeah. So, and Nicky Hopkins as well. I think Nicky Hopkins and Eric Clapton are the only 2 musicians that performed on a Beatles record and on every solo and on a solo record. Okay. If I remember correctly. All right. Let's see here. Jared says maybe I missed it earlier, but great news. As Simon, yeah. The first time I saw Ringo in the All Stars, he was on drums. And maybe he'll be a Hall of Fame drummer if Bad Company gets in. So yeah, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Good questions. Absolutely, great questions, great comments, great thoughts. Keep them coming. But good question about the Capitol stuff and Columbia, Ray. Let's see here. I'd love if Bad Company gets in. Bad Company. I mean, I wouldn't have any trouble if Bad Company was put in. I don't think they're like an iconic status, but they were a great band. So yeah, I mean, it's cool to see what Simon does. I'm sure he'll be playing, up on the stage, just like Steve Holley and Lawrence Schubert were the last couple of years, or the last 2 fests, I should say. Bad Company is long overdue. Okay, well, I mean, listen, Bad Company had some great songs. They weren't necessarily hit makers, but that's not necessarily a criteria to get into the Hall of Fame. They did have a somewhat long career. What they went together 10 plus years, maybe 15 years. I don't think they were ever critical darlings, but they did, have success, longevity. That's another criteria. However, there are bands that weren't together very long that are in the Hall of Fame, right? Let's see here. Do you think Back to the Egg is something of a lost classic? Maybe in Paul's eyes, I don't know. I mean, listen, we all love Back to the Egg. Yes, and you're right. Doggett, Isla, Kozin. I think a lot of us love it. So I don't know if it's a lost classic. Maybe it's lost to newer fans, but I don't think it's lost to to us hardcore fans. Um, but there might be some truth to that, Owen. There might be. And thanks for being here, buddy. Glad you're here. Let's see here. I hope Paul does more small venue shows. Well, don't hold your breath. If he does them, it's usually to promote something. So you know, if and when this new album does come out, maybe he will, right? But where, where, and why isn't it Detroit? You know, come to Michigan and do one of those small clubs. You know, what are the odds we get a Rubber Soul and the anthology on Blu-ray 4K in 2025? I don't know. I mean, there was a speculating video from Matt Street saying that With the Beatles was going to be next, apparently. But we had also heard that Rubber Soul was done, right? Done and in the can and ready for release. So, and who says they can't release more than one thing a year? The Beatles can't. I that's a tough one. I mean, I think we're going to get one, definitely get one. I think there's like an over 75% chance we get one, whether it's Rubber Soul or the anthology. And I'm kind of leaning more towards the anthology, Jer. Lee Preston played on a Beatles album and a George's All Things Was Past, correct? I think he also played on Lennon, a Lennon record, and I'm trying to remember if he did play on a George. I think he did play on a Ringo record. So Billy Preston is close. He just didn't play. He just hadn't played on a Paul record. Although he has performed live with Paul at the concert for George, but he did not perform. I don't think he's performed on a Paul solo record or any record for that matter. But good one, Charlie. Yeah, so Billy would be next, I think, in line. So it would be Nicky Hopkins, Eric Clapton, and then I think Billy Preston would be second. Let's see here. I just paid a pretty penny for all 3 anthology LP sets. Yeah, they are a pretty penny. I wouldn't be surprised if they updated them tomorrow and I had to buy them all over. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. But I mean, that's up to you. I do have the volume 3. I do have volume 3. Well, I did. Did I purge that one? Maybe I did. But I used to have volume 3 on vinyl because that was my favorite one. That was my favorite one. Brooks, how you doing? Hey Tom, forgot how you feel about Memory Was Full. But do you have the US and or UK vinyl? Do you prefer one over the other? I do have one of them, and I can't remember which one it is. I can't remember if it's US or UK. Maybe I can dig it out and take a look. But yes, I do have one of them on vinyl. I enjoy Memory Was Full a lot. I think the only issue with that one was that it was mixed really high in volume. So like when you pop that in, even if you were on like volume 2, it sounded like a volume 10 because they, like I said, they mixed it really loudly. But yeah. I think Memory Was Full is great. A lot of good stuff on there. I love, That Was Me, Vintage Clothes, even See Your Sunshine. I'm not the biggest fan of Dance Tonight, but there's a lot of good stuff. Mr. Bellamy, House of Wax, even Feet in the Clouds. I like to a certain point until it gets to really, 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 really hard. But yeah, the end of the end. Thank you. Yes, the end of the end is in my top 5 favorite McCartney songs of this century. So, the U.S. vinyl is a proper sleeve. UK vinyl is a package and a poster. Yeah. I think that's the one I have. Then give me a second here. You've piqued my interest there, Brooks. Give me 1 second. So here it is. Memory almost full. Right. So the U.S. has the proper sleeve, and the UK is the poster. And yes, it's the UK version because the UK version is the poster. So there you go. That's the version I have. So yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Let's take a look here. MPL, Universal. So I don't think he was on Parlophone anymore at this point, right? I don't recall. So yeah, I do really like Memory Almost Full a lot. And here we go. But yeah, the CD version was mixed really loud. All right, let me get back to here. Hold on, you guys. Memory Was Full is great. Such a shame that it didn't get a wider vinyl release alongside Chaos and Creation. Well, I don't think that one got a big vinyl release either. However, I do have the original that one as well. End of the End, absolutely. How do you feel about the news of Scorsese is set to direct? Well, I mean, if the movie is set in Hawaii, right? So, yeah, why not? We'll see. And he's going to be a Hawaiian gangster, I guess, right? Leo is set to be in this movie as well. So we'll see. How do I feel about it? Well, I mean, Scorsese always hasn't had like the best actors in his films, but he has people in place that would probably do a good job in that particular part. So I mean, if the writing depends on how the writing is and what their plans are for The Rock in that film, maybe it's a good casting. We'll see. And I'm sure The Rock wants to do a good job. I'm sure he's not just going to go into it, going, oh, I deserve this. I'm gonna be the best at this, whatever. I think he's gonna come into with a good attitude and want to put in the work, because it is Martin Scorsese. And I'm sure if Scorsese has a problem, he'll tell The Rock. I'm sure he's not going to be afraid to say, hey, look, you're not doing this scene right. Try it this way. So we'll see. Back to the Egg didn't have a big hit, unlike the previous four Wings albums, and it turns and Paul's Eyes, and that is a good point because people might forget that Goodnight Tonight wasn't on Back to the Egg. So all the songs though were top 40 here in the States. Was it a top 10? I think did it go to 8 here in the States, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I mean, I guess you do have a point there. It didn't have like a top 10 hit. And would it have done better if Goodnight Tonight was on there? Maybe he would have enjoyed it. But I do like Paul standing up for himself, saying, no, look, this song, it doesn't fit the album. It doesn't go in with the theme of the album, if there was a theme. And he said, no, this is just a standalone single. And I respect that. Nod Your Head was a great closing track. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but or not one of my favorites, but yeah, it's good. Excuse me. I really enjoyed reading Music as Ideas, Volume 2 by Luca. It lays out when and why Memory Was Full was recorded at the same. Yeah, I mean, I think he did start with Memory Almost Full, and then he switched gears and then went with the Chaos and Creation, and then went back and finished Memory Was Full. Yeah. See, I really want to pick up the Music Ideas book, waiting itself. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it. We've been thrilled to have Luca on many times on this show, and we had him on talking about Volume 1 and Volume 2. So, but look for him to be back. He's always welcomed on the show. Anytime he's got something to, he did release this, right? The book on Band on the Run. Right, he did release Ram, but it's only in Italy right now. So I'm sure there's going to be translated into to English, and then we're going to get a Rams book out soon. Okay, so Memory was full, as we've said many times. Over needs a remix. Yeah, I agree. But it is I think it overall is a very good record. Yeah, I agree with that too. I do recall him talking about the inspiration for the album, and I'm forgetting what that was right now. I can't find that interview anywhere where he talks about, why he chose what he did. But I'm gonna have to go find that. I know we've talked about it before here on the show. Um, but there's just so much to remember. You can't remember everything. Chaos Occasion got re-released on color, yeah, on black vinyl a few years back. Yeah, that's right. You know what? Those 3 releases that he did, um, we all hope they would have continued, because with Chaos and Creation, New was also released on pink vinyl, I believe it was. We were all hoping that the other ones were going to get released as well. But they didn't, unfortunately. Arrow Through Me should have been the first single from Egg. Maybe. I love the song. I think it's great. I'm happy that he did include that on the Pure McCartney box. I love Old Siam Sir, but it's not a single in my book. No, I think that was only a UK single. I think that was the B-side to Spin It On over here, or Getting Closer. Can't remember. So yeah. Good stuff, guys. What else? Maybe I can just turn around and take a look. Yeah. Give me a second. Where is it? Yeah, so here's Old Siam Sir 45, and then Spin It On was the B side. Yeah, it's definitely UK 45. Yeah. Then here's Getting Closer here in the States. No, this is a Parlophone as well. Getting Closer was a Parlophone. And then Spin It On was the B side. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. The way they were released. So so the Back to the Egg thing, I think it's a fantastic record. I love it. Okay, you know what I noticed recently? The U.S. and UK labels of Back to the Egg have different fried eggs. One is more burned and fried than the other. I have 2 copies to compare. Well, that's pretty cool. See, I have the Columbia Back to the Egg. I need to get a Parlophone Back to the Egg as well. Maybe someone might have one at the fest. I can pick it up there. Also different shapes. Okay. All right, we're an hour in, going strong. Thank you, everybody. So if you haven't, check out the QR code if you want to, above here in the right-hand corner. If you want to, support the channel in any way, just click it with your QR code, and you can buy us a coffee. That's what this is called. It's called Buy Us a Coffee. And you can also join our Patreon links. We did a video about how you can help support the channel. Obviously, it's not mandatory. The show will always be free. But if you want to help us out in any way, that is appreciated. And if you're here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel. We'd love to have you guys around for a while. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Yep. Okay. And then I wore out my LP and cassette versions of Back to the very underrated LP in my book. That's really cool, Ray. Hopefully you were able to get another copy. Hopefully you were able to get more stuff. I do have. Let's see what back. It's on the other side of the table now. So, but I do have Back to the. I think it was just a Columbia cassette for the Back to the Egg album. But yeah, do I want those archives to keep going? Absolutely. I still want those archives to keep going. But it just looks like he's just doing half-speed masters and one-off specials. So that's unfortunate. Maybe that was a label decision. But let's see here. Not a totally Paul related, but what are your thoughts on the 1-to-1 film coming soon? I haven't watched the trailer yet. It's coming to theaters on my birthday, actually, April 11th. So I am still kind of up in the air whether or not I'm going to go or not. There's, I know some people laugh, but I'm a opera fan. There's a Mozart opera coming to Detroit, and it's playing on my birthday. So I'm actually thinking about doing that for my birthday and going to the opera. But I think it's great. I think it's great. Anything released with John, I think it's great. We should have archives. We should have documentaries. We should have, stuff released about, all throughout John's life. And I'm just hoping that it's just not all talking heads. I like these kind of documentaries more in the kind of like the Beatles anthology vein. If you guys saw Becoming Led Zeppelin, that was kind of like in that vein as well, kind of like the Beatles anthology. Whereas it was just the people involved that were the talking heads. I don't want to see some young fan talking about it, or I don't want to see any kind of fans talking about it. And that's not to say nothing bad about the fans, because we're all fans, right? But I just want to hear the people involved, talking about the 1-to-1. So I do have to watch the trailer. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will. And like I said, I want to see it. I want to see it. When it comes out, I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll be in line. Choices. I think the fest needs to take it on the road, like to Florida one year, where us poor folks can get to town. Well, I know they did. I think it was in 2014. It was in LA, and it wasn't very good attendance. So I think he's just happy with Chicago and New Jersey, New York area right now. Hold on, right here at IMAX. Yeah, at the IMAX. It's going to be on April 11th. It's going to be on IMAX, and then I think on April 18th it will play in regular theaters. Back from grocery shopping, avoiding all the American products. Okay. Or smoking, yeah, singing, yes, yeah, which had nothing to do with that. Let's see. I hope it's not too similar to something like Beatles 64. I thought it was a decent overall, but too many talking heads that didn't really offer anything new. Right, exactly. Right. So what's collectible you've been looking for, like Andy with Paul's CD collection? Yeah. So for me, I'm still looking for Rushes on vinyl, the second Fireman album. That's the only thing on vinyl that I need is Rushes. So that if anybody out there has a copy of Rushes, and that's you, Joe Mayo, I know you have one. I want it. I want it. And I know it's not getting played over there, Joe. I want it so I can play it. I have it on CD, but I need it on vinyl. That's like my main thing that I'm looking for LP wise. Now there's still a bunch of 45s from like Israel and other places and countries that I still need a few 45s from around the world. Brooks. So yeah, that's my main thing right now is rushes on vinyl. That's the main thing. Let's see. Hey, how you doing, Tim? Hope John doesn't show his clothes closet. Like Ringo did. That's good. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll be there. I'll definitely check it out. Hopefully, it's just on a weekend because I work weekends, and it's harder for me to get out, on the weekends. If they play it on a Monday night, I'll go. If they play it on like a Wednesday or Thursday or something, I'll definitely go. I have a McCartney Russian LP that's printed in Russia. Yeah, that's a good collectible right there. That's a good collectible right now. I've never seen Rush's LP in person. Good luck. Yes, thank you. It's out there. They are out there, but they are expensive. They are out there, but they are expensive. Have you seen Tone's new video? Not yet, but I will. I will. I like it. I like his series, like the McCartney project. I like it. We're all fans of Beatley Tone. He does great videos. Noah says, we get there. Everyone has a different approach for films. Yeah. I guess it also depends on how much material there is. Let's say if there's only like 30 minutes of said material that you want to build a documentary around. Okay. So yeah, but then you need talking heads, right? You need people that have been involved with the project. Maybe if you are going to do a fan, maybe somebody that was in attendance. Okay, that would be acceptable to me. But like, and no offense to us fans, whether generation you are. I mean, I just want to hear from people that were in attendance or involved with the project, whether it be someone behind the scenes or a musician that was on stage with John and Yoko. Those are the only people that should be talking about it, in my opinion. And if you're someone like us, like a content creator, or podcaster, or whatever, then we can talk about our feelings, while we do a review. I watched the trailer and it looks like John and Yoko are narrating most of the film themselves. And then that's great. That's great. Says, I wish he would have done some documentaries on all other Beatles. He seems to be a big enough fan. Yeah, but we did criticize that Living in the Material World documentary for being too Beatle heavy, right? I mean, it was good that some of that stuff got out, but we wanted more solo stuff. I mean, listen, these musicians were, John, Paul. Well, unfortunately, not John, but George, Ringo, and Paul were solo artists longer than they were a Beatle, right? So I think more attention should be paid to that, and less attention paid to the Beatles stuff. Just my opinion. But overall, I mean, he did a good job with the material that he had, Martin Scorsese. And I'm happy that it wasn't just one of them damn stupid, hour and a half, almost 2 hour, documentaries that someone had this long career. Thank you. Yes, I am entitled to my own opinion, right? Very good, my friend. Very good. So what else? What else? Like I said, I'm going to be seeing a couple movies today, so excited about that. Saw a movie called Mickey 17 last night. That was pretty good, and happy with what's been coming out, or I'm happy with what I've been seeing. Not necessarily everything that's been coming out, but but yeah. Uh, let's see here. Charlie says, but Tom, it was the Beatles being the greatest band ever that allowed them to be the solo artists that they became. True. And all that has been documented, Charlie. Not everything has been documented about them as a solo artist, and that's what I want. Okay, maybe not everything has been documented about their Beatles years, but at this point in my life, I want to see more solo stuff. I love the Beatles. I still listen to the Beatles. I've been listening to the Beatles in my car. I've been listening to the 2-disc versions of all of the remixes that have been coming out over the years. I just had the bonus disc of Let It Be in my CD player right now. So yeah, I mean they are the more important thing, but for me, I still want more solo stuff. That's why I'm glad that this 1-on-1 concert, which I'm hopefully is followed by the release. It's not a documentary. Hopefully it also gets a physical CD Blu-ray release of the audio as well. No, this is one thing I'm not excited for. Thank you, Doc. No, this is one thing I'm not excited for. I think the dwarves look terrible in this version of Snow White, which is kind of crazy because they just dropped the trailer for Lilo and Stitch, which was a Disney animated movie. And Stitch, or Lilo, which one's the alien? Stitch, looks fantastic, Let's see. This is, in my opinion, Tug of War is the most complete and assured McCartney album that will ever be. And you might be right. You might be right, Owen. It might be. It's hard pressed to think of another song. Although, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of What's That You're Doing. I'm not the biggest fan of Get It. But from top to bottom, it's hard to beat Tug of War. I think Ram might be a better album. But that's why I love you, buddy, because you got some great hot takes. Hopefully, the Man on the Run documentary is full of new information. It'd probably be hard to have more insight considering all the information we've had come out in books. Yeah, right, especially the McCartney Legacy books. But I think it's going to be more of Paul's memories of Wings. I don't know if we're going to get. I mean, we might get information from Paul, whether or not it's accurate or not. That's the question. I'm sure we'll get new information. Whether or not it'll be accurate, that will be the question, my friend. Because I doubt it. Okay. Someone ought to do a doc on Wix, the man who has played with Paul longer than anyone else ever. Wix. Started with the '89 tour, right? And he was part of the '93 tour. Yeah, that's fair to say. That's a good observation there, Tim. Tug of War is my favorite Paul album because its highlights are stellar. Okay, I can dig that. Yeah, I mean the great songs on there are great. Wanderlust is fantastic. Take It Away, I think, is fantastic. Here Today is fantastic. Even songs like Someone Who Cares, I think, are fantastic. Tug of War is a great album. Band on the Run is time. Yeah, to see if, when that is the album that he's going to be remembered for. I think we all can agree on that. That is the album that ended his, critical drought, if you will, here in the States and the UK. It's not like it wasn't his first number one album, That's for sure. But that was the one that put him on the map, really. I mean, it's his biggest selling album, most successful in every way. His best charted album. That album went to number three. I mean, sorry, that album went to number one on three separate occasions. So that's pretty impressive. Uh, what were your impressions of Brainwash when it was released? Where does it rank in your favorite George albums? Brooks, when it was first released, I was a little low on it because I didn't think. What was the name? What was the lead single? Stuck Inside a Cloud. I don't think that should have been the first single because it was such a downer. It was such a downer of a song. I think if Any Road was the lead off single, I think I might have enjoyed it at first a little bit more. But because Stuck Inside a Cloud was such a downer of a song, it kind of took me a little while to warm up to the album. But there's some great tracks on there. I think the title track, Brainwashed, is fantastic. There's really a lot of good stuff on Brainwashed. It's just too bad that it was released after his death. I wish he would have been able to have finished it before he passed. But he had that attack. Excuse me, that attack in his home. The cancer treatments and all that stuff that slowed him down on that. But Danny and Jeff did a great job finishing the album. And I wouldn't say it's like my favorite George record, but it's I'm sure I will put it in the top half of his work. Is it Man on the Run going to include other band members inside besides Paul and Linda? Let's hope it's more. Yeah, let's hope it's nothing like the Wingspan record, right? It was so unfair that other members of Wings that were still alive, Henry was still with us, right? Denny was still with us. They didn't get a chance to say anything. And but as we learned with the McCartney Legacy books, they were very vocal. They did get quotes in press and stuff like that. So they were able to get their views out there of how they felt about the band at that particular time. But it would have been nice to have got their takes on the band, at that moment, looking back. In 2000, 2001, what were Henry McCullough's, thoughts on Wings? What were Denny Lane's thoughts on Wings? LJ, Steve, Denny Lane, Jeff Britton, what were their thoughts on Wings at the time back in 2001? Instead of just being a love letter to Linda, it was more than just family, It was a business as well. There were other members involved. See, start to finish, Band on the Run does not have a Duff track. It plays as a complete piece of work, but I must say that the double album version of Red Rose Seas, yes, I agree. That was definitely one of the better releases in this whole archive thing that Paul has been doing. That double Red Rose Speedway was fantastic. And I got a feeling when we get closer to the McCartney 2 50th anniversary, I've got a feeling we're going to get the same thing that we did with Red Rose Speedway, because if you didn't know, McCartney 2 was supposed to be a double record, okay? But didn't get released as a double record. So maybe we'll get something in that vein for McCartney 2 as well. I think all the songs are good to fantastic, Brooks, on Brainwashed, and that's another good one. Brainwashed didn't sell as well as I thought it would have. Yeah, again, I think it had something to do with the Stuck Inside the Cloud being the lead off track. If Any Road was the lead off track, I think it would have done much better, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. So yeah, this is a good quote. Yeah, Brainwash is similar to David Bowie's Black Star. It's a fantastic album, but something you gotta really be in the mood for. I like that. Yeah, Black Star was tough to listen to as well. Um, yeah, believe it or not, just went through McCartney's entire discography. Have to say, I was impressed by the more modern albums that I thought. Yeah, Rob. The stuff he has done this century. Um, we're not. Just went through McCartney's entire. I have to say, I was impressed by the more modern. Yeah, all the stuff he's done this century, whether it's new or chaos or memory was full. McCartney 3, Driving Rain, Egypt Station. You know, I think they're all good. Yeah, even Driving Rain I think is good. I don't think it's great or anything. Um, but yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Rob. I'm glad to hear that. Mr. H. Adam, yes, was in a flat wrong side of town. Yes. Yes, we are going to see that. We are going to. It's not gone yet. Mr. H. Adam will return. It will return. And if you do have the McCartney 2 archive, I mean, you could probably put together, you could put together your own McCartney 2 double album because all the stuff is there. All the stuff is there. I'm just waiting for a press to play archive. A remix of that album would sound fantastic, although nothing could make Angry more listening. Yes. Yes. What a wasted opportunity, I think. And he has done this several times. Several times. Okay. Angry, right? Hey, hey, from Pipes to Peas. From Pipes to Peas. Stanley Clarke. Steve Gadd. Paul McCartney. Hey, hey, Angry, Pete Townsend, Peter Gabriel, really love you, right? Jeff Lynne, Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney. Anytime that he has these all stars, playing with them in a trio, they just end up being not great. They just end up being not great. If you could edit down Egypt Station, add some other bonus. Yeah, well, we did this, James. We did this with our frenemy, as we like to call him, Sam Wiles, where we kind of, take what we reimagine the album, I guess. We take off the stuff we don't like, and then we add stuff that we do like, and that only works with albums that have a lot of outtakes, right? Or B-sides, like Off the Ground. Did Egypt Station is definitely one of them. Ram would be another one. So I would definitely. I've never been a big fan of I Don't Know. I've never been a big fan of People Want Peace. I've never been the biggest fan of the what's the Damn It Janet song or whatever. That song is. I don't even care for it so much. I can't even remember the name of it. But I would definitely, put In a Hurry, Home Tonight. I even like Get Enough, better than some of the stuff that's on Egypt Station. But I really enjoy Egypt Station though. Mr. H. Jasmine was Linda's lone lead vocal on the double album version of McCartney 2. Yeah. Her voice is very prominent on that track. I have a nice 2 LP boot of McCartney 2 album. Okay, cool. LP or CD there, Tim? See, I don't dislike Angry, Phil Collins, Pete, Rock Out. I have no problem with that song. Okay. That's fine. I suspect Egypt Station McCartney's weakest album. Oh, really? Really? Yeah, and the tracks, the bonus tracks that were on the Target edition, like Get Started, I think were fantastic. Stuff from New, right? Demons Dance was one that I really liked. I'm forgetting the other one too that I really liked. That was an outtake from New. Uh that little coda, yeah, middle section, and this sounds amazing. The rest of the song is so bad. Such a missed opportunity. Okay, okay, yeah. Angry and instrumental and could be improved, maybe. I think Eric Stewart would agree that Angry is a wasted opportunity. Yeah, maybe too. Yeah. Well, maybe that because he didn't perform on it. Even the McCartney Costello demos were great. A much more sensible idea to carve the songs and do them separately. Yeah. Um, I think they should have just left them alone, actually, and just released them as is. But I do like Elvis Costello's version of "So Like Candy." I think that's his, and obviously Veronica but Veronica was always his song. But I think that "So Like Candy," Elvis Costello's version is fantastic. The original boot of McCartney 2 was on the Club Sandwich label. Ah, okay, did not know that. Let's see here. The LP version, it uses the Coming Up single sleeve as the cover. Okay, I'll have to look for that. Yeah, Hell to Pay. Thank you, my cousin. That's Duke Viking is my cousin David, who I started the show with way back in 2016. I can't believe it's coming up on 9 years since the show has been up and at 'em. If you'll say. My friend designed the suitcase. I showed him a screen grab of it in my background. He said, "You must be rich." Well, as I like to say, it was the first thing I used the affirm option when I was at McCartney.com. Affirm is a thing that if you qualify, I mean, you can just make monthly payments on it. And that was the only way I got it, was because I could make monthly payments on it. I couldn't afford it all at once, to be honest with you. So no, I am not rich, but but thank you. A fully removed version of Jan is a dream track of mine. Paul always needed someone to tell him what tracks to be included. Yvonne is my favorite officially unreleased, McCartney track. It is on this though, right? Let me make sure. Yeah, I do have this bootleg here, played to press, which is a really good press to play bootleg. So yeah. If you go on YouTube, which you are now, but if you go on YouTube another time, you can look up "press to play" bootleg or whatever, and you'll get the you'll get the an underdubbed, I guess, version where it's just Paul, Eric Stewart, and Jerry Marotta. I will say on the double McCartney 2 version that I might dislike Boogie Woogie more than Mr. H. Adam. Yeah, it's possible. I'm starting to really appreciate Secret Friend a lot more, which is a song that I never really cared for. But a friend of mine, brought that up. Brought it up to me recently, and I gave it another go around, and I'm really starting to appreciate Secret Friend a lot more. Dale was a great. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And don't be modest. Come on, David. You were. Anyways, so yeah. Jared says, I've always liked Secret Friend, a cool song. Like I said, I mean, I've really come to appreciate it, more. I like the way the studio techniques he uses for his voice and stuff, and and the synthesizers that he used for for press. Or I mean for McCartney too. So let's see, the press to play cover never suited the material. Yeah, exactly. And looking back at that now, I mean, we can say that now that it would work better for Kisses for sure. Absolutely. I've always been a fan of Check My Machine. I was pleasantly surprised with it being a part of the McCartney 3-2-1. Well, I'm sure that probably may have been why am I forgetting his name? The producer that I think he picked all the songs. On that. Let's see. I've always loved Secret Friend. Great. Paul hits some very high notes on Secret Friend. Right. Jim's voice is 100% correct about the press to play album cover. Yeah. I concur. Rick Rubin, thank you, Paulina. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Again, I forget so many things. Rick Rubin. Yeah, so I think Rick Rubin did pick most of the stuff, or all the tracks that were on the 3-2-1. So yeah, I dug out my suitcase. I think it was last Sunday. I dug it out, or this past Sunday. Andy just picked one up. His local record store had one, and he picked it up. So sent me pictures and stuff like that. And I was like, I gotta dig mine out now. So went to go get it from the storage, and now it's there. So yeah. And what does she say here? Wait a minute. Let me go back here. I just got in 4 sealed cassette copies of Off the Ground. Wow, sealed. Incredible. That's awesome. I have a Blu-ray of 3-2-1, as it is good to watch from time. Yeah, it is. I got rid of Hulu, so maybe I should get that bootleg, because that's what it is. It's a bootleg. Yeah, I was disappointed it didn't get an official release, but that's what streaming wants you to do. They want you to, get a subscription to the stream, to the app, so you can only see it there. So, but I would love for an official release of McCartney 3-2-1. Rick would have been an interesting producer for Paul. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I loved what Rick did for Neil Diamond. That first album that they did together was fantastic. In my opinion, streaming leads to more bootlegs. Well, I'm talking about I'm talking about the apps, the TV app, like Paramount Plus, Hulu. I'm talking about the streaming. That's streaming, not necessarily audio streaming. Okay, that's the kind of streaming I'm talking about. Yeah. Or so you do understand? Yeah, in my opinion, streaming leads to more. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah. Yes, I do agree to that, because didn't the before the Beatles released the whole Get Back documentary that Peter Jackson did, wasn't that a bootleg as well? that was released on bootlegs as well, I think, right? If I agree, because it's on Hulu, why pay for Hulu and $20 for a high quality? Yeah. I enjoyed both. Rick Rubin produced new albums. His best work, though, is Tom Petty's Wildflowers. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Rick produced that album, didn't he? But that first Neil Diamond album, was fantastic. Was it 10 songs or 12 songs or something like that? Hell yeah. Hell yeah is an amazing song from that album. Love the song Hell Yeah. If you're thinking that my life is a hoot and a holler. Yes, love that song. I feel like Rick Rubin would test Paul's patience. um, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I wonder if he already had Andrew Watt in mind to direct or to produce his latest album while he was doing McCartney 321. Because I mean, you would have thought that maybe that collaboration would have sparked an interest to work together on a record. But maybe it didn't. Maybe it did. Maybe they did try to work together, and it just maybe he did try his patience. Let's see. Rick was on fire in the 90s. Yeah. Oh man, good point there, Paulina. Good point. Yeah. And I love those Danzig albums that Rick Rubin produced with Danzig too, and the first couple Slayer records too, right? Yeah, 12 songs. 12 songs is great. That is when Neil had a bit of a career rebirth. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see here. Chris says, do you think Paul has done a good job of exposing his solo music to new generations like other artists have? Especially specifically thinking of people like Elton John. Well, yeah, he does. I mean, he tours. Right? He's still putting out new music. He goes out and he promotes them. Unlike what Ringo does, is Ringo just goes out there and he doesn't really promote. Well, I should go back on that because he hardly promoted McCartney 3, right? He only did Women and Wives a couple times during the show, and then he degraded it to just these sound checks. So no, but he gets out there, he promotes the stuff. If the younger generations are watching, like the the late night shows, then yeah, they see Paul on there. So I do think Paul does do a good job of promoting his newer material to younger generations. But then he's still very much remembered by younger generations as a Beatle, first and foremost, I think. So let me check something out here real quick. Well, he says his friend. Sorry, I had to send a message here. So yeah, I think he's done fine. But and part of that is by working with these younger producers, right? The producers he worked with on Egypt Station, right? This Andrew Watt, who's on a great role too. I mean, look what he did for the Rolling Stones latest record. Let's see here. Didn't Rick Rubin produce Paul as a guest on something else? I'd have to look that up. Paul being on Carpool Karaoke helped Egypt Station, perhaps. Yeah, he did. He did a lot of promoting for that. Maybe. Let's see here. Hey, hello, Henry. How you doing? Let's see. A few years ago, I found a sealed 2 LP copy of 12 songs late in the day on a record show for. Oh, please tell me you bought it. Well, please tell me you bought that. I would love a copy of 12 songs on vinyl. Oh, I hope you bought that, Tim. I'd take a Rubin produced Macca album over an Andrew Watt produced anything. Okay. Watt did fantastic on the Stones, Hackney Diamonds, a true classic Stones song. Yeah, and apparently there's another one ready to go with another collaboration with McCartney on there. I think Ringo is going to be on the next one too, because during the recording of Hackney Diamonds, I think Ringo did go into the studio, if I remember correctly, and if I remember correctly, Paul did played bass on 2 tracks, and they only put one on this one, and maybe they'll put the second on the next one record. I agree with David. Rick would be my okay, yeah, of course. Good boy. Well, you never know. You might have already had a pile of records, and you were like, well, maybe we'll see. But I'm glad you did. That's the weird thing about Paul. Whatever album he puts out during that tour, he does a couple of songs from it. Then those songs don't make us. Well, yes and no. I mean, look, new is still in the set list, right? Dance Tonight is still in the set list. So yes and no. I mean, a lot of songs that he'll do, like he did a bunch of songs for New on tour. He did do 3 or 4 songs from Driving Rain on tour. He did 4 songs from Egypt Station on tour. Come On to Me has survived from that. So yes and no, I think, Paulina, but that's a good observation. So maybe like 1 track per tour, I mean, or per album, they'll stick around, like Dance Tonight, New, Come On to Me. Yeah, he still occasionally pulls off Flaming Pie. Yeah, absolutely. So, if he does tour this year or next year, it'll be interesting to see what he changes, if there are any. If you watched our latest episode with Jess Slate, we talked about that. We talked about him kind of sticking to the same format and not venturing out, kind of like what Neil Young or Bob Dylan will do. I mean, Neil Young will go out on tour and he'll perform the whole new album. He won't care if you don't hear Heart of Gold or Down by the River. Same with Bob Dylan. He'll perform he'll perform the whole record, and he won't care if you hear Like a Rolling Stone, or many others, or Blown in the Wind. See, I miss him not doing Figure of 8 on tour. Yeah, well, that was just the one tour, though, right? Was Hackney Down supposed to be the Stones' last album, or do they have another one? Yeah, apparently, Henry, they do have enough material for another album, from my understanding. Owen says maybe McCartney and Starr could play with Daltrey. Yeah, that's been a running joke for a while now, hasn't it? That's been out there. Sorry, just reading a message here. Let's see here about Dylan. He is. Yep. A lot of Who fans out there. Jeff has early signs of Dylan. Oops, wrong one. The Stones will continue recording until the day they can't. Yeah, I mean, probably the same with Paul, probably the same with Elton, probably the same with Ringo. Hoodles is a better gag. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So yeah. Very interesting. I don't know if I would like that too much. If I'm going to see anything with Paul on it, I want him to do all the vocals. Roger's probably going to want to do a vocal or two. Pete might want to sing something. Ringo, and then there you go. Then you're going to get all these egos in there, and I don't know. Whenever Jagger or Richards dies, the Stones just that will be when the Stones are officially done, right? Is when either Mick or Rich Keith die. Yes. Let's see here. If legal issues are still holding up back to the egg box, then just I've said that a million times. I agree. Or just like give us Off the Ground, give us Press to Play, give us something else. But I know what they want to do. Right? They want to release them, but then also release them in a big box, just like they did with Wildlife and and Red Rose Speedway. So, and so that's the thing. Let's see, Paul and Dave Grohl, Couture, as we move on. All right. We've seen what Pete Townsend and Paul did together already. It didn't really turn out that well. I don't think Rockestra is all that much to talk about, in my opinion. If you guys out there love Rockestra, that's great. I don't think it's all that good, unfortunately. And James says Keith is already dead. It's just his body doesn't know it yet. His body doesn't know it yet. Let's see. Foo Wings. Yep. There's that. Let's see here. So maybe the Stones will go on forever because I'm 22, but Keith Richards will definitely outlive me. He's going to outlive him, and Willie Nelson will outlive everyone. Yep. If we're talking sharing a bill, I'd be interested in Simon McCartney doing an all Paul tour. Yeah. I'd be into that. And just acoustic, maybe some bass and drums, but I would love to see them do just an all acoustic tour. They all have enough material, acoustic material, to fill a 3-hour show, of just all acoustic stuff. Foo Wings sounds like a restaurant. Beetle Eddie, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Glad you're here. Let's see here. I think Press to Play needs a reevaluation. Kyle Hand reignited my interest in that album. Awesome. Check it out. And I kind of say that too. I do that for Off the Ground. Okay. The albums that I'm not the biggest fan of, I'll go back and every couple of years I'll go back and listen to an album that's not particularly my favorite in his catalog, and I'll see if it does anything for me. Let's see. Esther says, why do I want to shared reissue program and leave out some albums? To me, at the very least, the archive edition has to London Town Back to the Egg Barrett Street Press to Play. Yeah. It's like he did McCartney. McCartney 2 was a double release. Venus and Mars, and wasn't Venus and Mars and Speed of Sound released on the same day? Tug of War and Pipes of Peace were released on the same day. Yeah. Winged Fighters. Yeah, maybe. Why do so many older people say that films aren't original anymore and they suck? Have they not heard of it? Well, the people, they say that because they're not going to see those movies. That's why. Movies like music, movies are kind of a little bit like music these days. New music, I should say. You have to do research. You have to get active. You have to go out there. You have to do research. You have to find the stuff. Whereas in the old days, you would see more trailers for movies. There were more studios out there making movies. So nowadays you have to go out there and find it. You have to, just be on certain, Facebook pages. You have to go on your local movie theater's website and see what they're playing. I do that all the time. I go on, I got an AMC and I got an MJR, theaters, and I go on both of them just to see the latest movies that they're playing. But I also listen to a few movie podcasts too, where they'll talk about upcoming films. So, but you're gonna be like that one day too. See, I will say the film, the rehearsals for Rockestra theme, and so glad to see you at Abbey Road is fantastic. Okay, and that could be what's holding up a Back to the Egg release is the video version, not the audio, but the video version. Because, like, again, if you read the McCartney Legacy book, they talk about the fact that nobody knew that they were being videoed. So that might be the main reason. Uh, have you seen the Heart tour footage with Anne in a wheelchair? Yeah, yeah, I did see a picture of it. I didn't see the footage, but I saw a picture in it, and it is, yeah, it is. See, Stephen is also okay. Nothing wrong with being a defender of press to play. I think the first half of press to play is great. Yeah, I like half of it, and I like and half of it I don't. Um, uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, the song "Talk More Talk" has never been my favorite. However, "Absurd" has never been a favorite of mine. "Angry" has never been a favorite of mine. So I think it's half and half for me too. The cost of producing those archive sets and the risk of how many they actually sell is probably a factor. Yeah, yeah, a factor besides the hardcore fans who are already going to buy the Back to the Egg. Yeah, yeah, it's not back. It's not Band on the Run. Yeah, I agree with that. So they make less, but they have to make a certain amount to either break even or make it worth their while to put out these sets. So again, that's why I'm thinking they just wheeled it down to the half speed masters and the one offs like the one hand clapping. So let's see, Day Tripper, how you doing? I've said it before, I'll say it again. The version of Press to Play, which I have the bootleg version called Alternative Press to Play, is 10 times better. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay, yes, 2014, 2015, 2018, respectfully for two. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, it's more stripped down, and that's what I would like. I mean, I admire our favorite artists, challenging musicians or challenge the fan base. Um, but he had an older fan base, right? That probably didn't care for the more 80s themed type of music, and maybe he thought he could build on a newer fan base, with that, but it just wasn't meant to be. Yeah, 2011, McCartney 2. Mr. Wisby, hello, my friend. You look at that. He's got the Off the Ground cassette in his hand right there. Do you think the new Snow White is going to be good? You know what? I'm not going to see it, so I can't say it. I wouldn't say yes or no unless I was going to go see it. Okay, so is it going to be good? Hopefully people will like it. Okay, but I'm just not going to come on here and talk shit about it when I have no interest in seeing it. Okay, but you know we're going to be able to read the reviews soon enough because I think it comes out at the end of the month. See, the real story of Gene Hackman was revealed. His wife died first, and then he died a week. Yeah, that is really sad. That was really, really sad. Venus and Mars T-shirt arrived today. It's that's the shirt. I mean, everybody's gonna at the fest. I mean, a lot of us will probably, if we get them in time, because that's the one I got. It says it's all balls. I'm sure people are gonna get, that question too at the fest if we're wearing them because like I said, if I get mine in time, I'm wearing that. I'm taking that to the fest with me. Back to the Egg is not Band on the Run, but is a fine album. Yes. Again, it's just up to you and up to your ears. What do you like better? Band on the Run has definitely stood the test of time, right? He still plays 3, sometimes 4 tracks from that album live. It seems like every tour he's playing at least 3 songs from that album. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I was working the Beatle Fest in 1996 with my dad when the vendor next to us gave me a cassette copy of Press the Play, took it home, and fell in love with it, that album. That's very cool. That's very cool. Could you imagine a Press the Play archive set with all the early? Yeah, I would. Yeah, and I would hope that's what it would be. I would hope that's what it would be, and then also including, Yvonne or Yvonne the One, however you want to call that song, because I've seen it titled Yvonne the One, and I've seen it called titled just Yvonne. Um, so yeah, I would love a Press the Play archive. Yeah, just for the bonus stuff. Billy Joe's taking 4 months off from the tour surgery. Yeah, yeah, that's what happens when you get old. That's right. You're not a kid anymore. You're not a kid anymore. I've always liked the Press to Play shirt. You have Tom. Is that original? No, what that is. It's a little tight on me. It was a promotional T-shirt that people like Ken Michaels got for the release of Press to Play. So I found mine on eBay, and it's just like the inside jacket of Press to Play. But Ken Michaels has one too, and from my understanding, it was a promotional T-shirt to promote Press to Play. The Alto Nights is opening the same day as Snow. Yeah, I know, and I'll be at the fest, so I'm gonna have to wait until I get back from the fest to see the movie. But I'm sure I'll be seeing it multiple times at the theater. So I'll be looking forward to it. I'll be arriving Thursday. Yeah, I'll be arriving Thursday. James, how you doing? Thanks for popping in. Glad you're here. We've been going on for over 2 hours here. I don't know how much longer I'll be going, but we'll see. We're having a good time. A lot of great comments. No interest either. Not because I think Snow White is woke, just because the Disney remake fad needs to crash and burn. Yeah, some of them are doing good, some of them are not so good. Like I said, I saw the trailer to the Lilo and Stitch one, and the little guy looks fantastic. I think the dwarves in this look terrible. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I kind of agree. Just I don't know why you have to remake everything in live action. Just leave them as they are. But they're money makers. They've got this incredible IP that made a lot of money their first time. So that's their job. Their job is to make more money. Billy Joel needs to release a new album. His voice still sounded great on his new single last year. He's too talented just to stop. I agree. Did you mention anything regarding the Hamish Stewart interview? Yeah, we knew about it, but no. But no. I haven't seen it yet. Only because, if there's anybody out there that I want to interview, or we want to interview for Two Legs, I don't want to see that, because I don't want that to interfere or interject with anything that I might want to ask, Hamish about. I prefer the 10 CD edition. Oh no, I highly disagree with you right there, my friend. No. I will take the demo version of Yvonne 10 times a day, 100 times more than that reggae fueled version of the 10cc thing. Yes. Do you have that Last Temptation of Elvis? Well, give me a second here. Here it is. Here's the LP version of The Last Temptation of Elvis. I do have it on CD as well. So yes, I have it. I have that press to play shirt too. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Is 10cc in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I hope they are. I don't know. Are they? Owen might be the person to ask on that. The Things We Do for Love is a banger. Absolutely, it sure is. So is I'm Not in Love. I don't think 10cc are, but Graham Goldman is in the Songwriter Hall of Fame. Yeah, because he did write a lot of hits right prior to being in 10cc. James' 10cc's Yvonne is horrible. And I've loved them since I was a kid, but this version is appalling. There you go. Do you have kids that you take to family-friendly movies? No, I don't have any kids. Never wanted to have kids, and but I have taken like my brother, younger in past. I have taken younger cousins of mine, and my younger brother. I have taken him to movies in the past. So yeah, I have taken younger people, younger family members to the movies, but never kids because I don't have any and never wanted any. Thank you. It did show snippets of the Paul McCartney band from the early 90s playing together. Okay. 10cc is not in the Hall of Fame. That's too bad. Do you like Black Sabbath? I do like Black Sabbath. I did get to see them for the 13 tour. And I think that was back in 13 or 14. So yeah, when I was living in Arizona, I went to the arena where the Phoenix Suns played, and we got to see the show. The joke in the 1960s was that Goldman could write any band a hit but his own. That's funny. I heard a funny tidbit about 10cc the other day where Neil Sedaka did his recording of Love Will Keep Us Together. He hired 10cc as his backing band. What a weird combination. That is. Should he be? I mean, we're willing to talk to anybody. We want to talk to anybody, that was involved with Paul. But I haven't seen him in any interviews. But I mean, he would be good to talk to. Let's see here. I have close friends going to see the final Sabbath show in Manchester in July. Sabbath is number 2 after the Beatles. Yeah. It depends on how well Ozzy is. He hasn't been well at all. That video of Paul and Ozzy meeting the first time I did see that recently. Maybe like about a year ago or something like that. It is. I saw Graham Goldman live last Friday playing his songs from the 60s through now. Cool. I don't think Neil Diamond is in the Hall of Fame. At this point, I heard Oz. Yeah, he is not. I mean, I think he's in a wheelchair. If he even does the show, it'd be really interesting to see. I don't think it'll be a full set either. I would ask Clear Mountain why he chose the takes he did for Tripping, especially the horse versions of every. Well, Paul still has to sign off on that stuff, So he might have chose those songs, but Paul himself could have said, "Hey, look, I don't like those particular takes. Why don't we do something else?" But again, yeah, it would be interesting. I should put that down and see if we can get him. Yes, Neil is in the hall. Okay, there you go. Ozzy is always in a wheelchair. To be fair, they weren't 10cc when they did that recording, just an in-house studio band in Manchester. Sedaka hired the 4 guys and suggested they form a band. Okay. There you go. It's a miracle, Ozzy. Even it's a miracle that a lot of performers from the '60s and '70s are still alive. A lot of fun was to be had. Well, even in the '80s. I mean, listen. Anytime that you're a successful, rock musician, you're dealing with many temptations, and you're giving many things, and it's a whole new world, and how a lot of people were able to survive. Um, those times is, and look, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people didn't. Look, he took a lot of chances with his drug and alcohol intake. As did a lot of musicians or celebrities in general. I've never liked the tripping mixes. That's one that I don't listen to very often, and I should maybe get it out of storage and play it. Um, Crazy how Ozzy is deteriorating, but Keith Richards is still running around. Whatever, whatever deal he made with the devil, it seems to be working for Keith. And since Ozzy is the devil, who does he have to make a deal with? Kevin Galley has described the Stockport sessions in 70-72 as their Hamburg. Okay, cool. And you got to interview every member, right, Owen? Every member of 10cc, or the original members, I should say, of 10cc. Astro says, yeah, the tripping mixes are very hit and miss. Figure of Eight is fine, and some others are brutal, like Ebony and Ivory. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember them. I didn't spend a lot of time with Tripping the Live Fantastic, um, so it's something I should go back and listen to. So, but guys, I'm going to be wrapping this up in like 15 minutes, 2 hours. I mean, 2 hours and 13 minutes. It's going great. You guys are bringing in some great comments and questions and stuff. But I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. I'm going to be seeing a movie here at 4 o'clock, so I got to get going here. Let's see. Tripping sounds very flat overall. Okay. Yeah, he did all. Yeah, and that's fantastic. I love that. Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, I'm glad you had a chance to join us. We are going to, if you're there all weekend, we are going to try to do a live stream during the fest. And we're going to try to, take over a room. But I'm not going to say much more about it. But we are going to be trying to do a bunch of things at the fest for Two Legs, and hopefully you can be part of those if you'd like to, Jer. Bachman Turner Overdrive has a new song coming out really soon. Can't wait. Great. I think that's awesome. Paul was the only Beatle that seemingly didn't have any serious addictions unless you count smoking grass. Well, yeah. I don't know if I would consider that an addiction. I mean, is it an addictive like cocaine or crack was addictive? I don't know. But smoking is an addiction for sure. Cigarettes, anyways. I wonder if Tripping was Bob's first live album he mixed. He's phenomenal as a studio album mixer, especially with Avalon and Roxy Music. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know much of his other works except for, Tripping. Get tested because in 2 weeks will be some late nights. Yes, it's going to be a long weekend. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Yeah, I get that. I get that, buddy. I get you. I can't wait for more fest footage. Thank you. Yeah, Mike. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Interview Heather Mills. um. Okay. No, well, I mean, I'm sure he tried it. I think he said he tried it. I think that was more George's bag uh, than um, than uh, than Paul's. So I think George was definitely had some cocaine issues. Trying to guess it on a Godly Cream song called "Get Well Soon." You can clearly hear him on harmonies. Was that the only thing he did for the song? Was just the backing? And that one was that after 10cc as well, right? No, Henry is on Pepsi. There you go. Yeah, that was definitely more George's. That was his gig than Paul's. So yeah. Um, but all right, going to start wrapping it up, guys. This was fantastic. Thank you guys for keeping me company and talking all things music, whether it was Paul, Beatles, or other people. This is fantastic. Great cast of characters out here. You guys were awesome. You were great, and you were great, and you were great. So yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it going for maybe like 10 more minutes, but whatever else you guys got. So if you guys want to say your final goodbyes now or whatever, and then we're going to yeah. Yeah, George definitely had cocaine issues. Patty said it froze his heart. Aw. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Patrick. Is Doc going to the fest? Doc, if you're still there, are you going to the fest? What say you? McCartney provided harmonies, and this was post 10cc. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Owen. Thank you for being here all this time, buddy. No plans to go. We'll make plans. Just come for the day. I don't know. How long of a drive is it for you, though? You might have to stay the night. Just come one day. Yeah, we will. We will. We're gonna miss you, Doc. Doc. I will say goodbye. I don't know why you say goodbye. Well, one of these days, I'd like you to join join me on one of these live chats if you want to. I kind of like doing one on my own and then one with a friend, whether it's like Aaron or Joe Beatley Tone, Aaron Badgley, Owen. If you'd like to join, I'd love to have you join, every once in a while if you'd like to too. So, but yeah, so like one by myself and one with friends, that's just the way I would like to keep it for the time being. So, but see, Ashes Doc can stay in the lobby where we all can roll away. But yeah, let's see here. It's a 9-hour drive. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good drive. 9-hour drive is good. That shows how John was the most hardcore Beatle. He had heroin and all as well. Yeah. Well, George was into the LSD as well. George and John really took advantage of the LSD for sure. So it's a wonder that they made it. Not everybody handled the acid experiences very well. So, but let's see here. Doc says I was hoping to share a room with Beatle Brad, but Brad isn't going. Oh, that's too bad. You mean with all the things that are out to buy, and Beatle Brad isn't going? That's too bad. I think Matt Street is done with the fest days. In the I think this was going to be the 4th year that I've gone, and I think I've only saw Matt that first time, and I think he's done. So that's all right. That's all right. We're gonna have a great time, no matter what. We're gonna have a fantastic time. So everybody, thank you very much. It was great chatting with all you guys. I'm going to the movies. I'm going to the movies. And have a great time. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see you. I'm sure I'm going to be here next Wednesday. Okay. I was very busy yesterday, so I didn't get to go live yesterday. So I did it today. But next week, I'm sure I'm going to be here on Wednesday. Okay. So everybody out there, have a great day, and I will be talking to you soon. So take care.